All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to this month Britannica webinar. Thank you very much for joining. Let's just take a few more minutes to allow other attendees to join, and we will start very soon. Good afternoon, Miss Nurul Huda Hassan. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Keith Giles. Thank you for joining. Irene Cruz, good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Hello, Joy. Thank you. Please allow a few more minutes for more people to attend. Nice to see you again in our webinar, Hisan. Good afternoon. All right, maybe we should just get started. And we can have more and more people joining along the way. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cristianto Gondohutomo. I am the Senior Customer Success Manager from Britannica Education Asia. I would like to welcome everyone to today's Britannica Education webinar, Beyond the Tool, Why More Technology is Not Solving Schools' Challenges. And as usual, I am accompanied by my co-host, the one and only Christopher Nguyen. So Christopher, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, welcome back to everyone who's joining us again. Welcome to the newcomers. We greatly appreciate you taking the time. I am Christopher, and for those of you who don't know me, I am your head of curriculum and development for Asia. I'm always excited to share insights, support our partners, and to support our clients in pedagogy, tool deployment, and driving overall educational outcomes.
Awesome. Nice to be back here together with you, Christopher. And for this month's webinar, we are not alone. Usually you're just seeing two of us, but today it's very different. We are not alone, and we are actually accompanied by another colleague of ours in Britannica Educations, who is based in Mexico, and it is 1 a.m. over there in Mexico right now. And his name is Franz Hoppenstedt. I hope that I pronounced your name correctly, Franz. Apologies if I did not. Franz, if you don't mind, maybe sharing, introducing yourself to our audience today. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thank you, KG. Thank you, Christopher. It is my honor to be with you today. Uh, no matter the time, it's a great honor to be here today with you. Well, my name is Franz Hoppenstedt, as you heard, and I've been involved in education for over 26 years now. I started off as a teacher, and I became a coordinator, and then I became a director, and then I became regional director. And then I became a teacher trainer, and I've been involved in curriculum development, teacher training for over 16 years now in more than 10 countries in Latin America. I've given conferences, international conferences like BBELT, like TESOL. I've participated in international events all over the Latin American region. And today I work for Britannica Education as a business development manager and as an academic specialist for the Latin American region. And I'm very happy to be sharing my thoughts and insights with you today.
Thank you, Franz. And of course, the pleasure is ours to have you here sharing your insight with us here in Asia. The next, what are we going to do in the next 1 hour? So we're going to talk about about technology in the classroom. We have been, I think, a lot of you who have attended today's webinar. You have been hearing about use or maybe using technology in the classroom already as well, but you probably want to know more about how to be able to effectively use technology or maybe efficiently as well use technology. And we're going to go through a few sessions over here today. So after I give a little bit of a background on Britannica and also introductions, Christopher will go through the technology explosions and why good technology often fails. And Franz will be able to share an in-depth insight, basically, with all of you. And after that, we can close with some audience Q&A, allowing you to ask some questions to both Christopher and Franz. So for those of you, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have known Britannica, but in case this is the first time for you to get to know Britannica, so I would like to introduce about Britannica a little bit. Britannica Education itself has been, Britannica itself has been around for more than 250 years, and we have been in the business of providing factual information to people. We are looking at Encyclopedia Britannica brand over here, and then we have more than 200,000 verified media assets delivered in more than 80 plus different languages, reaching more than 150 million students globally. And then we have a pretty high client retention rate as well. We deliver innovative solutions that enable educators and improve student outcomes. We bring together pedagogy, instructional design, world-class content, and technology to bring quality products for classroom research and also professional learning. Now, before we, let's kick off our session today. And before we do that, I would like to invite you to share your input, basically. So we would like to invite you to do a poll. How many education technology tools does your school access? And over on your screen right now, you should be able to see a poll. You can choose whether it's a 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 9, or more than 10. So please give your answer, share your feedback with us. And
Can I just add for any
sure.
of the partners in the chat, can you just answer this based on your research, based on talking to your contacts, what you know to be an average? Would be interested in that piece of data as well. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. And of course, Kara, whenever you're ready to share the result. Okay, so we got 50%, 1 to 2, 25% 6 to 9, and the rest is basically between 3 to 5 or 10 plus. That's quite a lot, 10 plus. So, Christopher, Franz, what's your take on this? Maybe Franz first.
Well, okay, I think 50% is very expected. I'd say
Mm,
more than 10 should be very tiring, very complex, very exhausting in terms of what I do with what, how much time I dedicate to each one. Because if I have more than 10, I probably have to use all of them. So from 1 to 2, if you really know how to use them, if you really know how to exploit the tools, 1, 2, probably 3 would be more than enough. That's what I do. That's what I use. I use from 1 to 3. That's it.
mm. All right. So I'm very interested to know who answered this 10, and I would really like
I
to listen
know.
from this person as well, actually. Christopher, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for the person who's having to use more than 10, if you want some emotional support, just message us in the chat. We'd be happy to help. But yeah, I think this is an interesting balance. I agree with Franz's take. I think up to 3, 4, maybe that's the top end limit. So I'm heartened to see the majority come in under this. So I think the question is then, for the 1 to 2 people, what's it doing well? And for those above it, why do we suddenly need such a drastic increase? So what's the ecosystem problem? What are the tools not addressing? What's going on that drives that relationship?
Because this is quite interesting that we have the data that we have over here. So 50%
Mhm.
is 1 to 2, but then the second highest is actually 6 to 9. Such a big jump from 1 to 2 to 6 to 9. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing that information. Christopher, shall I start moving on to the next slide?
Certainly, thank you.
All right. Okay.
Alrighty, so I am going to do the framing as efficiently as I possibly can. I do not want to take any time away from the main event. So we're going to start with a very simple question, or not simple, based on that poll, perhaps. But the question is, if more technology automatically improved education, then why are schools still struggling with things like workload? So why does a new tool that should help us in schools, why does the workload go up? With engagement, when there's a new tool plugged into the smart board or in the iPads, why does the classroom engagement, the face-to-face interaction, why does that go down? Why in literacy is there no causal effect between literacy rates improving rates of communication and tools? In implementation, I think anyone who's worked in a school, including myself, knows implementation can be the single biggest challenge, and it's often the one that goes the most scattershot. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has their own tools, so school-wide implementation can be a challenge. And then there's adoption. So from a top down, you can implement all you like, but it's no good unless the teachers are adopting and the students are adopting and everyone's buying in. So the relationship between implementation and adoption is usually a complicated one, and they do tie together, but they're often completely unhitched from each other in reality. And so the technology explosion. Now, my two colleagues here are slightly older than myself, so I won't make any comment on their experience. But when I was coming through school was the big internet era, the dot-com boom, and all of this was coming up. Then suddenly we all had computers in schools. We all had to learn how to use a floppy disk for anyone who's of that pedigree. That was an exciting day. But this technology explosion has just been on an accelerating curve for 20, 25 years, perhaps. And are we now at the point in the AI era where all these new tools, and you can see some of them here, handily arranged for me by another famous AI tool, is this finally going to be what cracks the system? Are we looking at the straw that broke the camel's back finally in this era? So is there such a thing as a tech ecosystem? So sure, there's AI tools, there's learning platforms, there's assessment systems, communication tools, content repositories, and analytics dashboards. But the question is, and I love the word ecosystem, Can we tie all of these together into effective education that means something for our students? And my honest opinion, I've not come across a school that's got a hard yes to this. We work with a lot of partners, being it from state schools all the way up to the best funded international schools, and none of them have been able to draw a line straight through all of this. So the real issue, in my humble opinion, is twofold. The problem isn't access. We all know new AI tools, there's a new one on the market every week, and there's free access to this, trial access to that. And so you've not got an access problem. If you have a laptop and internet, you can do it. So they don't have a technology problem. They are overburdened. There is too much to choose from. It's like a kid in a candy store, and we've gone crazy and passed out. We have an implementation, a coherence, and a trust challenge. And these three things are vital to the core tenets of education. Without them, really, things become a bit in the House of Cards territory. So the teachers are telling us, actually, we don't need another platform. We have 100 platforms. Like our dear friend who said they have over 10 platforms. We sympathize. We need time, we need confidence, we need trusted resources, and I think most of all is we need some support. We can't do this if it's just thrown at us. We need, how do we do this? And so the hidden cost of more tools, and we were doing some kind of meditation and thinking internally about there's a lot more than just a cash value or a time value that can be attributed to new tools and new ideas. When you adopt a new tool, you need to train everyone. That takes time. In a school of 1,000 students, that could be 250 faculty members that have all got to be trained. Workflow challenges. Many teachers have their own tech tools. Many teachers have their own workflow. And by introducing a new tool, you disrupt that. So you therefore disrupt the learning and the development process. Decision fatigue. Fatigue about all of this is becoming more and more prevalent. AI fatigue is coming to the fore more and more. But deciding what tool, how to use, where to use, what to use is exhausting at points. Resource overload. Yeah, there's not just one tool for one job anymore. There's 10 tools for every job. So there's too many tools. It's not effective. And you have, in some schools we speak to, I've seen they've got 10 teachers using 10 different tools and 10 different workflows. So how are we harmonizing an education journey here? And then the competing priorities. What is our priority? Is education our priority, or is deploying technology our priority? And those two things are coming to an intersection that doesn't end massively well.
I just want to say, because I've spoken to some existing customers, and I know exactly this is actually something that at the beginning, maybe around 20 years ago, a lot of people are very excited about bringing in technology into the classroom, into the school. But I realized that at one point, people are starting to feel this fatigue. And I think what you just said over here really resonates with, I can reflect basically to a lot of the conversations that I've had with the existing customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
All
think
right.
these themes are becoming more common. So, good technology. Now, we can have a debate about good or bad technology, but I don't think this is the forum, and we certainly don't have the time. So, why does good technology fail? And that second line, it's rarely about the condition, it's rarely about the technology itself, but the conditions we're building around it. So, when you enter schools, what's the purpose? Teachers have a purpose, students have a purpose. Does the technology serve an educational purpose? Insufficient training. Teachers are lifelong learners by nature. We want to study, we want to improve ourselves, but we also need to be provided with it. Sometimes, and all the time, the sink or swim attitude with technology is more often going to lead to the sink than the swim because teachers are busy. They don't have time to faff around with 10 new tools. Inconsistent adoption. So we want our students to be having a journey. Education is a journey and it requires a careful procession up a ladder. So if inconsistencies appear, if schools and departments become fragmented in how or what they deliver, then we have an educational issue. Undefined success. What are we trying to achieve with this? We all know a nice A star in students off to university, that could be defined as success. But in day-to-day classroom outcomes, when we are using the technology, what is the definition of success for that piece of technology? And then there's limited teacher involvement. Now, I've spoken about this a few times in webinars, but we see not all teachers are of the same generation or of the same age. Teachers fresh out of university and teachers approaching retirement have very different worldviews, neither of which should be considered incorrect, but different methods of teaching that perhaps don't necessarily fit in with the technology explosion. And I would say age is not a rule, because I have seen teachers are close to retirement who are absolute AI whizzes and those fresh out of university who don't want to touch it. So it cuts both ways. But when the faculty and the staff are not buying in to this technology drive, what does that tell us about the technology's value for education? These are the people we should be listening to first. So when they have a problem with the technology, maybe that's what we should be focusing on.
Agreed. Yeah.
So before I hand over to our esteemed guest, here is my kind of concluding message. Schools don't need more tools, like they didn't necessarily need more textbooks. We have things that do the job. We don't need duplicates and we don't need more of the same. So what do they need?
All
Mr.
right.
Hockenstead,
So,
now it's your turn.
yes.
Well, again, I'm so excited about this because I'm going to address the exact same things you've been addressing, Christopher, but from the teacher's perspective. I mean, I am a teacher myself. I still teach a class or two just to not lose that sense, that feeling of the classroom, that proximity to students and to the sense of teaching. So I still teach, but beyond just teaching, I am in contact with teachers on a daily basis. I listen to them, I talk to them. Usually in our jobs, we take a step higher and we go straight to the coordinators and to the directors, and we kind of create a space between us and the teachers, and they are the ones suffering this wave of technology, right? And I get the chance to talk to teachers on a daily basis. And what you said, some of the points you touched are key to what's happening. And the point is not the technology. The point is not whether a tool is good or it's bad. The thing is, one thing institutions are forgetting about is all that involves to give a class. Everything teachers need to do before, during, and after a 1 hour lesson. What is the objective of them being there in front of students? This is kind of, technology is in such a boom, and particularly artificial intelligence is in such a boom right now that we tend to forget about the rest of what matters just to use an AI tool, just to be in trend, just to be part of, of what's happening around. And that's what's happening with teachers all over the world. It's like, I need to plan. I need to evaluate. I need to differentiate. I need to personalize learning. I need to mentor my students. I need to care for them. I need to deliver a quality class. But the information I need for my class, they have it on the palm of their hands. In 1 second, they just Google anything and they get any news, any piece of information they need, reliable or not, which is one of the risks, right? Reliable sources is a key element of today's talk, of what we're discussing today. But then the question, what are teachers asking for, is not simple to respond. We need to respond to a series of questions to analyze and to identify why they are asking for what they are asking. Because the truth is, bottom line, in one phrase, what they're asking for is less. They're asking for a little less. Why? Because there's just too much on their plate today. Because in educational institutions have been building up on expected outcomes for generations, and they have created all these protocols and bureaucracy around teaching and learning, and steps and reports and this and that, and they are still requiring this from teachers even when they're obsolete, right? So and they're overwhelming them with more and more tools. Oh, this is good. Let's pay this GPT thing for teachers so that they can make quality content for their classes. And so here's your license. Now I want you to use it, and I'm going to be supervising how much you use it. So they add on pressure. So the truth is, teachers are asking for a little less. Why? Because they need to focus on what matters. The question is, what matters today? Today, what matters is inspiration. It's not about information. It's not about skills. There's tutorials on YouTube for anything. Anything. You can fix anything with a YouTube tutorial. And the right tools, of course, right? So it's not about the skill. It's not about the information. It's about inspiration. We are still human, and teachers remain important and relevant for students when they inspire them, right? That is the key difference between artificial intelligence and a human teacher: inspiration. But there's so much to do. There's so much to report. There's so much to prepare. There's so much to plan that there's no time left to inspire. So teachers want to take a little step back and take a deep breath. That's what they're asking for. Now, what are they not asking for? KG, if we can go to the next. Before we go to what they are not asking for. No, go back. Let me share with you some super interesting facts that are going to support what I'm saying. This is in an optimistical scenario where for every hour of class a teacher gives, spends one more hour in administrative work. So for a teacher that works 25 hours in front of a class, has a 50-hour job. Okay? Now, in the graph you're looking at, there's 50% of it is in front of a class, and the other 50% is for what we can see here: preparation, evaluation and feedback, professional development, and administration. And in front of a class, they spend it in student instruction and engagement, student behavioral, social, and emotional skill development, and student coaching and advisement. Now, what is sad about this? If you look at the administrative part, only 3% of the time is spent in professional development. And if you look at the other side, only 3.5% is spent in behavioral, social, and emotional skill development. So teachers need more time in front of students and at home, let's say, or in front and not in front of students, to do or to focus on what really matters. So they need to save more time. And this is where digital tools begin to help. KG, can we go to the next one, please? We've discovered, this is a study made by McKinsey and Company, where they discovered that through the use of digital tools, teachers can save up to 50% of the time they spend in some of the activities they do, and they are able to relocate that time into things that matter more or that are more important. Right? For example, from the 10.5 hours they spend planning or preparing a class, they can save up to 5 hours, which is almost 50%. Of course, you can plan a class in no time with these AI tools that we have today, right? You can prepare a class, you can create a lesson plan format in seconds. You can evaluate your students in no time if you use some of these tools that create evaluations and correct them automatically. So you don't need to spend any more time, checking and crossing right or wrong answers and analyzing. That can be done for you as a teacher. And you can save 3 hours to focus on what matters. What's happening with my students? Who of them are falling behind? Who of them are advancing quicker? Who of them are getting frustrated or bored? And then analyzing what's happening in the class so I can personalize better and inspire better. Huh? And then, of course, there are no digital tools that can help you save time or relocate time into social emotional development or in coaching and advancement, right? There's no digital tool that can do that for you. That is the part of the teacher that still matters. But we can use some of the recovered time in other activities to advise more, to help them more with social emotional skill development. KG, please, the next. Now, problem is, why are teachers not using more digital tools? Number one reason around the world, there's no time or no flexibility of time. What I said at the beginning, there's no time. There's simply no time to do it. I need to write a million reports of because I don't know there in Asia, but in Latin America, a teacher needs 2 to 3 jobs to make a living. That gives every teacher an average of 7 groups to take care of. An average of 7 groups. Between 35 and 45 students per group. Just do the math. There's simply not enough time in a day to do everything teachers need to do. So that's number one reason. So if we manage to get tools that help teachers save time and relocate time, then we're solving number one problem for the use of digital tools. Okay? It's pretty interesting, right? Great. Now, let's see what teachers are really not asking for. Like I said, what we're asking for is a little less. So we don't need the biggest, strongest, most powerful AI tool that is going to make us learn for a year how to use it. And then when we finally know how to build a lesson, there's an update and now we need to learn a new skill. We don't need a tool that complicates lives. We don't need a tool that is so complex that we're never going to use. It can be the best, but if it takes time to learn how to use it, it's not going to work. Right? Because there's no time. Teachers are not asking for unreliable information. And I don't want to break the dreams of all teachers here, but every single artificial intelligence that has an open source is unreliable. I mean, when you consult the internet when your source is the internet, is not reliable. Not because you're only going to find fake news. It's not about the fake news only. It's about bias. Because artificial intelligences do not recognize fact from opinion. So it's not that the information is not true, it's that it might be politically biased or religiously biased or, I don't know, philosophically biased. And if it has any kind of bias, it's unreliable. It's not a fact. So you cannot jeopardize academic rigor by trusting an open source artificial intelligence. So we don't need that, because then what happens is we become the curators of information. Yes, the answer is very pretty, but what are your sources? Where are you taking the information from? I need to verify every single one of your sources and validate the information. And that is going to take me twice as much as it would take myself to do the same research. So no, thank you. Number three, what happens with this? I don't know if you guys do a lot of Instagram or social media, but once you say something about a lesson plan, Instagram starts bombarding you with this AI lesson plan tools. Yeah, right. You sign in with Google. Yeah, right. But you cannot export anything. There's no compatibility to either Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, and then you begin downloading different formats, converting to different formats, again, complicating things. And last but not least, anything that involves working more than we already do is what we don't need. Anything that involves learning something new too much. Like you said it, Christopher. Teachers are lifelong learners. Yes, we are. But we need to learn things that help us do our job better. We love to learn things that make us better. If we have to learn something new every other day because there's a new application or there's a new feature to the app it's gonna complicate, it's gonna be too much work. So no, thank you. Okay? That is what that's what we don't need. So are there good tools? Yes. Are there bad tools? Not necessarily, but it's not the tool. It's not the technology. It's how we address it and what we do with it. Yes? I hope I'm making sense. Okay? That was my first point, what teachers are asking for and what they are not asking for. Okay?
Yeah.
Great. So KG, thank you very much. The thing is, and this matches very well with what you were saying, Christopher, is it's not about the teacher. It's how can we do it? How can we actually do it? Because I said it at the beginning. This is here. AI is not going anywhere. Technology is not going anywhere. You were saying it, Christopher. 20 years, 50 years. In the last 50 years, technology has grown more than in the previous 500 years. That is mind-blowing. I mean, if you really think about it, if you take a moment and analyze that, technology has grown more in the last 50 years than in the previous 500 years. That's amazing. So technology is here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to grow, and we need to learn to adapt. The thing is, education is different from any other thing. You can see how fast technology grows with autonomous cars, for example, or with smartphones, or with TVs. But education is the future of our species. It is. It's not health. It's not um, food. Education is the future of our species. It's the future of the human race, period. Right? So it's the most critical thing to do, education, to put our efforts in. That's my belief, right? So it takes time to make key decisions. It takes time to actually make changes that matter. And human history has proven that we like to go from one extreme to the other. We don't like something, we forbid it until we realize, oh, it should be forbidden, and then we go all the way back to the other extreme. No, let's allow it completely. Oh, no, it's not that good to allow it either. And then we go all the way to forbid it. And then, until we finally find the balance. That's human history. We
Sounds like
are,
it
yeah,
sounds like AI implementations in the school.
right. Exactly. Until we find a balance, right? So the thing is, for that to happen, it has to be an institutional wide change. It's not just the teacher. The teacher needs to know what the purpose of the tool is, but it's not for the teacher to decide what the purpose of the tool is. If my coordinator gives me a new tool, my coordinator needs to give me a purpose for that tool. It's not just, here you go, use it. Okay, yes, I use it how? Well, I don't know. It's going to be a catastrophic failure. It needs a clear purpose, and that clear purpose needs to come from the purpose of the institution. Institutions have expected outcomes. Institutions promise to communities a good education for their students. As parents, we want what's best for our kids. So we take our kids to the best school we can for the best education they can get, because that's what schools promise. So a school, an educational institution, needs to have a clear purpose. If the institution has a clear purpose, it will analyze the specific tools that will add on to that purpose. So a clear educational purpose is essential. But it's not just about the purpose. Every single member in the educational community, that is, parents and students, of course, but we're also talking about teachers, we're also talking about coordinators, directors, and we're also talking about the administrative personnel. They all need to be involved in this AI embracing or digital transformation, if you will. That way, everyone speaks the same language. Everyone is on the same channel. So it's very important that everyone is an active member of or active participant in this transformation. Now, it's about a lifelong learning. It's about a culture of consistent learning, about a culture of consistent change, continuous change. Because technology moves faster than us. It advances faster than us. And if it's not the entire community teachers are not going to be able to do it on their own because they're just going to crash with their coordinator. They're going to crash against the coordinator because their coordinator is not going to be on the same challenge. Or teachers and coordinators are going to be walking together, but then they're going to crash to the principal. And so on and so forth, right? And last but not least, actually, most importantly, is the quality of the content that educational institutions use. Again, the AI era has sacrificed academic rigor very much. Teachers have relied on open AIs to generate content for their classes. We went to the extreme. It became so simple to plan a class that we went all into it until we figured out that not all the information was reliable. Now we're hitting the brakes on that. Now we're looking back at reliable sources. Now we're looking back at information that is actual, factual, and real. Because that is number one. Because it's not about the information. I said it before. They have it on the palm of their hand. It's about how they identify whether the information is reliable or not. It's about what they do with the information. It's about how they use that information to help improve their communities. It's not the information itself. Right? And we need to guarantee that the information they get is 100% reliable.
Absolutely.
Last one, KG, please. That was not the last one, right? Oh. Okay, so the last one before I finish is what will happen? What comes next? The next step into embracing digital change, starting to use digital tools, starting to incorporate AI or stuff like that, is simply answer one question. If teachers want to succeed, we've already established that it's not just the teachers, but if we as teachers want to succeed using AI tools, we need to answer a simple question. Why? It's the only question that matters, because every single question that I have can be answered through the why. Why am I using this tool? Am I using this tool to do things I cannot do without it? Or am I using this tool to do the same but prettier or faster? Is it a real improvement to my students' experience? Or it's just something that will save my weekend? It's an interesting question to myself, right?
Yes.
Is it an improvement in which of the aspects of my teaching is it going to be an improvement? And it's a balance. It's a P&L, a profit and loss analysis, right? Are the advantages bigger than the disadvantages? Are the risks worth the pain? Are the rewards good enough so I can use it? It all comes to the why. Why do I need it? Why do I want it? Why would I use it? You want to begin considering using AI? Ask yourself, why? Why do you want it? We've already established that we need time. We've already established that we need less things to do. So optimizing is a good why. Personalizing is a good why. Differentiating is a good why. Because it impacts the quality of students' learning, not my possibility of resting an extra hour. No, that's not what it is, right? The why needs to be aligned to the improvement of the experience in students' learning. And if it's correct, then you're in the right path.
Thank you, Franz. Um, Next, okay, we got one more slide over here. I think this is for you to sum up what you have shared.
Okay, so the way I see education in the future is because, like I said, this is a wave today. There's a wave of AI, and they're still making progress in AI. They're still making more intelligent artificial intelligences. It's scary in a way, exciting in another way. So the way I see the future in education is where everything works together. I don't know if you watched the movie Wall-E,
Mm,
Wall-E from
yeah,
Disney,
yeah.
how they finish landing on Earth again and learning again how to plant and how to crop and how to, live in community and how to walk. And I think that's the future of education. Um, it's it might sound funny and unreal, but it's more about the transmission of our values as humans than information.
Mm,
I think that's where we're going, and I think AI is going to do the rest. I do believe that digital tools and AI are going to be embedded in our lives in everything we do, including education. But education will always need teachers because we are the ones in charge of transmitting values.
100% agree. All
Yeah,
right. Thank you so much, Franz, for that great insight. Next is basically we're gonna go through the Q&A sessions, and I have already got some questions over here actually. So, but the first one over here is probably not a question. It's from Keith Giles. Let me just read it. The comment that Keith has given. Even with a great set of platforms, apps, and tools, technology may make schools better at managing, measuring, delivering, and accelerating educations while leaving the underlying educational problem untouched. The question is not simply whether a tool improves efficiency, but whether it strengthens or weakens the student's contact with reality, relationship, consequence, and meaningful participations. And I think Keith's comment is really related to what you just said at the end, right, Franz? How
right.
teachers, technology is technology, but there's still some teachers also need to instill the values into students. Any
That
any
is correct.
any comment? Any comment maybe on what Keith mentioned over here?
Just what you said. It's not about the technology. I've said it several times. It's about bettering the experience of learning. It's about making it more real. When I study it, which was a lot longer than you, Christopher, it was only about the information. We didn't have a voice, we didn't have a vote. It was what the teacher said, and we just shut up, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Students today are part of the experience because we teachers are expected to prepare them for their future, not for our past future, which is today. No, we need to prepare them for their future. And there's no one better to kind of know the shape of their future than them. So they need to be in the center of the experience. And we can use digital tools and technology to help us eliminate the barriers of the walls of the classroom and bring the world into the classroom or help them bring the classroom to life. That's kind of
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, correct. All right. So there's a very, very practical question that we have of here. If there is one single tool to choose, I mean, I think this is going back to the poll again. If there is one single tool to choose, what uh, would be a great tool or the best tool? Or is there a maybe if there's no one only, but what would be the best combinations of
Oh,
tools?
that is an excellent question. They don't fight against each other, but we need to define there's two types of tools: informational generative AI tools and design tools.
Mm,
So ones generate the idea and the other ones put it pretty. Okay? A great combination is a good informational AI tool that gives you quality information, and then another one that puts it pretty. The ones I use, and trust me when I say this, it's not because I work for Britannica, but the ones that I use are Britannica Studio and Notebook LM. I generate content from Britannica Studio and I make it pretty with Notebook LM. Those are the two ones, the only two I use. I don't use more. And I don't need more. And I've studied them and I've struggled with them and I've gone deep into them and I do amazing things with only two. But it depends on what you want to do. It depends on your personality as a teacher. It depends. There are teachers who are, I don't want to say peakier, but let's say more dedicated than me, and then they might use 3 or 4. I can do it with 2. So it's not 1, it's not 10, it's not 3. It depends on everyone, every teacher, and the right combination for them.
yeah, I guess it's also very different. Depends on what you need as well. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. One more questions over here, and I think this is actually a pretty good question as well. So we have been talking about technology, 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 and this is related to your closing statement as well. As we integrate more technology into daily instructions, there's a growing concern about its impact on foundational skills, how it's eroding certain skills like uh, mental math or sustained reading comprehension, because maybe technology makes text to be broken into smaller chunks. So students cannot read longer text anymore, basically. And then critical note taking or even face-to-face collaborations. So, in your view, what is the single most important skill that technology is inadvertently eroding in today's students, and what strategies that teachers should use to protect and strengthen those skills?
That is a very tricky question, KG. But because my answer is going to be a little controversial, I think. I am a promoter of technology. Okay. Having said that, I still read print books. which is kind of opposite, you know?
Yeah.
But let me elaborate a little bit on this. I'm not against the calculator. And there was a time when the calculator was invented where math teachers wanted to die. They said that they were making students lazy, that students were never going to be able to think about math ever again because the calculator was solving everything for them.
Mm.
The point is that the calculator did save a long time when it comes to calculations. And it allowed mathematicians to do much greater calculations in much less time than before. So it did, in the end, adapted the foundational skill into a new one. So
Mm.
before satanizing or before criticizing what's happening, we could probably analyze deeply what's happening and identify whether foundational skills are being erased or just modified. Because again, technology is here to stay. And it's also proven that the current generation has a lower IQ than every previous generation in human history, which is
I did not know that.
you didn't know that? Well, it
No.
is true. And it is very sad. And if you ask me which skills we should never, never sacrifice, that is reading comprehension and writing, creative writing. Those are the two foundational skills I would never sacrifice. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Franz, and also Christopher, for sharing your insights today. I guess this is the end of the webinar for today. I hope it has been helpful for everyone today, and I think we learned that more is not always better. But I think if I can sum it up, uh, uh, it's basically you need to basically look deeper, asking the why questions. Why are we adopting technology into the classroom? What problems that we are trying to solve? And of course, and only then, basically, the implementations can actually be done basically smoothly as well, because the solutions is answering the problem. And I hope that helps to summarize what we have discussed today. Thank you so much, Franz and Christopher, for sharing your insights. Before we part, I just would like to share with everyone here as well. Oh, maybe, yes, the closing poll, of course. We got one more poll for our attendees today. So now, after listening to what Franz and also Christopher have shared earlier today, what is the most important thing to consider for schools when adopting new edtech tools, according to you? According to you, what is the most important thing to consider for schools when adopting new edtech tools? So if you have to choose only one, what would that be? And Kara, whenever you're ready, please share the answer. Clear educational purpose. There you go. 78%. Most important thing to consider for schools, according to our attendees. Great. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for engaging with us today and listening to and attending our webinar today. So we just would like to share with you a few items, basically, in our portfolio. We have a globally successful portfolio within Britannica Educations. We are happy to basically talk with you, speak with you, and assist you whenever you have any inquiries or questions related to our products or related to your improvement needs or basically that you have in your at your school. And thank you so much. We would like to invite you to our next webinar. So if you need any support from us, feel free to reach out to us. I'm sharing with you my email address over here on your screen. You can also drop me an email as well. Once again, Christopher and Franz, thank you so much for your time and insights in today's webinar. And thank you very much for everyone attending this webinar. I hope we can see all of you again in the next webinars. Have a great day, or have a great evening, or have a great rest for Franz over there in Mexico.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Goodbye,
you very much,
everyone.
everyone.
All the best.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.